Welcome back, everybody, to the J&D Podcast. I'm Jason.
I'm Darren.
And if we'll just get right underway, Darren, you have some UFC stuff.
Valentina, Shevchenko versus Alessa Grasso for the women's flyweight belt. Did you watch that fight in particular?
I didn't watch it,
Okay.
but I have heard a lot about it.
Yeah. I watched a little bit of it. Wasn't what I thought it would be. Okay. I thought, let's be honest, I thought Valentina was going to come back and dominate her and kind of take her belt back, but it actually was a lot more competitive than I thought. Did you see the comments Valentina had after the fight? We'll get into the fight in a sec, but she said, for the fans that didn't know, she said, and I quote, "Unfortunately, I think this event, because it's Mexican Independence Day, that's why it affected the decision of the judge to give a 10-8 in the fifth round," which is it was very controversial, because Alexa didn't drop her or anything like that, and they gave her a 10-8 round, which is it was very controversial essentially. How do you feel about her comments after it ended up being a draw?
Regardless if they're true or not,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I doubt they are.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I mean, just saying it's because, like, it's her day or whatever. That's why she won. It's like, oh, it's her birthday, so the judges gave her whatever.
Well, it wasn't her birthday. It was more so Mexican Independence Day.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, it's one day for her. But it's like, I don't think the judges are taking that into consideration when they're scoring. They're like, oh, let me check my calendar. Oh, it's a day about her. Oh, let me give her an extra point. I don't think that's what it's about.
Yeah.
I think you just got to get real with yourself and say, sometimes the judges just aren't going to go the way you want. It's a subjective sport. That's just how the UFC works sometimes. You either knock your opponent out or you leave it up to the decision of the score makers. So I think that's a bad look for her, because now she's making a weak excuse at that. Some people like to say, oh, my training was bad. Like, I came in like sick or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a bad excuse, but it's like more reasonable, I guess. But just saying that's basically saying it was rigged. It's like saying, oh, I just had no chance.
Yeah.
I think that's dumb.
That's essentially what she tried to say. The Georgians ended up scoring it a 47-48, a 48-47, and a 47-47, which ended up being a draw, as we know. I watched the fight. It wasn't, lopsided towards one way. I think it was definitely extremely competitive. Valentina definitely, for those comments, it definitely kind of made her look worse. Because, we've seen, legends, we've seen them in their greats, and we've seen them when they've gone past their prime, and it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
I don't think, if anybody saw her lose, I don't think nobody was going to look at her any differently. She's still one of the women GOATs in the UFC, whether she wins or loses.
Yeah.
I think it's just past her time, but that definitely didn't make her look good at all.
No.
Yeah, it definitely made her look worse, if anything.
That's something that I wouldn't want to have, like, oh, I'm towards the end of my career, I'll be a gracious loser. I don't want that on me.
Yeah, because she's been known to be very gracious, very, very respectful.
Yeah.
She's even gotten, standing ovations and losses, So, now, this kind of makes her look a little bit bad, I guess you could say. Yeah.
That's not a good look.
Yeah, we can get into IU soccer, men's. They tied versus Wisconsin. I know you went to the game. I didn't
Yeah.
go to the game.
It was a fine game. It was very uneventful for the most part. I know a lot of fans there. It was not very exciting. A lot of fans were kind of bored,
Yeah.
And that's kind of what just happens, though, in a 0-0 draw. But I think for the men's team overall, it's kind of indicative of maybe a bad trend they're starting. I'm not liking what I'm seeing from the team.
Yeah.
The past 3 games, they've drawn against Wisconsin 0-0, and then they've lost 1-0 to USF and Washington. Washington's a good team. I don't know what USF is like in the men's soccer world, but in your past 3 games, getting 1 point total out of it and scoring 0 goals, that's not good for the team at all.
Yeah.
Some of these games, they're putting up a lot of shots and they're not going in. Against Wisconsin, they weren't getting any really good looks, it felt. And so it's like, I don't know if our attack is up to it. Our defense is obviously good enough to keep the game within reason.
Keep the game close.
A 1-0 game is not bad by any defense's standards, I'd say. But it's just the offense right now isn't getting anything going. And I got to look at or watch some of their practice, the back end of their practice. where the attackers were doing some extra work in the end. And it was just like they're doing some shots on the goalie. It wasn't looking great. And it's practice, so it's obviously different from game, but it's like it's setting a bad precedent for the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just really scary for the men's team because they seem to be digging themselves in a hole, and there's going to be a point where their season's done and they lose all confidence, and they have no shot for any like Big Ten championship or national championship.
Yeah, we talked about it last night, and you used a specific phrase. You said uninspiring offense, which is definitely what I would use to describe the men's soccer team this year. They've been definitely uninspiring. They've definitely taken a step back
for sure,
skill level wise. This year it doesn't really seem like it to be their year. I think this year more so they need to come together within themselves and find a groove. Try to end the season well. Even if you don't make a run, you can at least like show some level of like fight, some level of winning, because this year it's honestly just not their year. It's honestly just not their year. Tying with Wisconsin is definitely unacceptable. It's not a loss.
It's
by
not a
any
loss,
means,
but
like
it feels like one.
Yeah,
It's the first game of Big Ten play. You got a lot of fans there. You're coming off 2 actual losses.
Yeah.
And to not even get a goal, that feels like a loss.
Definitely feels like a loss. Do you think it would have been better if they lost like 2-1?
I don't know. Like, if they'd lost, it probably feels worse. But I know what you're saying, like, getting the goal.
Yeah, at least getting a
makes
goal
it feel better. Like, if it was a 1-1 draw, I'm feeling a lot better coming out of the weekend. But I don't know, man. There's just something with this team. Hopefully they can figure it out.
On other news, the women's soccer team.
On
a run.
On
a run, man.
Goodness.
I'm telling you, I see big things for us to get a big win against Rutgers. You went to the game.
These girls cannot be stopped. Paige Weber cannot be stopped.
2 goals. And an assist on
2 goals and assists coming off a 4-goal game. Mm-hmm. She is the GOAT, undoubtedly. Mm-hmm. This team is now 7-0-2, I believe.
Yep,
so
7-0-2.
They have 2 draws, 7 wins. They're looking real good. The game against Rutgers, they go up quick. 2 goals in the first 5 minutes. Sloppy play by Rutgers, letting them go. They weren't like amazing goals. One of them was good, but the other one was clearly like a mistake by their goalie.
Yeah.
But it's 2-0 for a while. Rutgers gets one back at the end of the first half. It's a good thing for momentum, stuff like that.
Yeah.
They go into the locker room, come out of half. They're playing really well. They get another goal back tie. So it's all even. Rutgers is playing a pretty good game. And then, I'm a little scared. I think maybe Rutgers gets a goal here. If we lose after starting up 2-0, it hurts.
Yeah.
With like 5 minutes left in the game, Paige Weber does her thing, gives us that goal, takes the lead.
Yep.
We hold on to it to the end.
Yes.
Everyone's going home a happy camper, and this team is rolling.
Yeah. On a run, man. Fire. What do you see, in all for this team? Do you see a natty coming? Do you see a Big Ten championship coming?
I don't want to say national championship yet because we've only seen them play. I mean, we've seen them play a good team in Tennessee where they were up and then they drew. Mm-hmm. And then, Rutgers, they're not a bad team. Mm-hmm. They beat them, which is good. But I want to see a little more just like from real opponents, not like Hanover,
that makes
who's
sense.
D3. Yeah. But I definitely see this team doing big things.
Okay.
Like I said last week, I could see them winning the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Which would be a huge thing for them.
A huge thing.
And, if they make some noise in the tournament come playoff time, I wouldn't be surprised. These girls are pretty good.
Man, would love to get, one of the girls on the pod. Hopefully, have to, shoot some DMs. Before we go into, the men's football team, if y'all didn't know, my boy's birthday was this weekend. Give him a belated happy birthday.
Thank you.
He ended up going to the Louisville game. I wasn't able to go specifically, but I did watch. Mm-hmm. So, what was your stance on the football game? How did you feel? What did you see?
I mean, in the first half, it felt horrible.
Yeah,
I think most of the fans wanted to leave. I think a decent amount of them did leave. Mm-hmm. But before even that, I want to say if you just looked at the stands, there were way more Louisville fans than Indiana fans.
Yes,
I know
same.
Indiana basketball school for sure, but I think they were giving out free student tickets.
Yeah,
the Friday before.
Mm-hmm.
The tickets weren't very expensive. They weren't even selling like the upper seats in the stadium.
Yeah, they weren't.
I think it's really disappointing from the fan standpoint to see Louisville, a team that's not even in this state. I know they're like pretty much on the border,
they're
but
right there.
You know, Bloomington to Indy is a 1 hour drive max. It's not a hard drive at all.
Yeah.
And it's a fun game. It's at an NFL stadium.
Yeah.
And just to see the fans not show out, it hurts.
Yeah, who doesn't want that experience?
So it's just disappointing.
Yeah.
But getting back to the game, first half, rough.
Yeah.
Offense couldn't do anything.
Looked rough early.
Defense, big play after big play.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you wonder, the Ohio State offensive lineman saying, oh, this defense was great. I think these guys can make a bowl game. You were thinking, what is this guy talking about?
Yeah.
These guys couldn't stop me if I was on the field, you know?
Yeah.
Second half, start off with an onside kick. Tom Allen reels me back in, you know? We score a touchdown. We tie the game up.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's feeling it now.
Yeah.
All the Indiana fans are getting up. They're making some noise. And then we get a big play. Cam Camper. That dude's a dog.
Yep.
Not 60-yard catch, but a big catch. And then we get down to the 1 yard line. Taven gets a play where it looks like he scores a touchdown, but the refs called it. He was down at the 1.5 foot line, which is, that's not even a real thing, refs. Come on. But so we get the ball and we run like halfback dive, but it was just terribly schemed. Our offensive line just not strong enough.
Not.
I just don't think it was the right play call given our personnel, and then our defense can't stop Louisville from getting a first down after another first down after another first down.
Yeah. I watched the game too. A tip pick early in the first quarter turns into, Jack Plummer, long, deep touchdown to Jamari Thrash. And then, they go up 14-0 after a rushing touchdown, another rushing touchdown, put them up 21-0. You definitely never want to go down 21-0 ever. But we definitely fought in the third quarter to bring it back. I think, honestly, we just let the game get away from us. We couldn't run, which is typically, known for us to run the football. We weren't able to run the ball, so we had to resort to throwing. We made it a game. Close in the end, but ultimately wasn't able to get that stop and tie the game up. So honestly, I don't know. Our team is just, we're in an interesting position because we do have a good enough defense to compete, but it's just I don't know. Our offense just isn't there. We start out too slow.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Starting out slow has definitely been a problem with us, especially Ohio State game. Just nothing got going.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the blame is to go on our offensive coordinator, Walt Bell.
Yeah.
I mean, if we call a better play there on the goal line, tie that game up.
Yeah.
We have all the momentum. I think we come away with that a dub after the game. And I just think the way this offense has been run, all the fans know this is Tom Allen's seventh year here. It's just not pleasant.
It's not where it needs to be.
No, it's not at all where it needs to be.
We can't blame it all on Tom Allen. We have to go to the offensive coordinator. I think he definitely needs to be better at getting this team ready to play, getting a better game plan going. Because we're not one of those teams that we can be going down like that. No. And come back from it. But definitely I've seen glimpses of our team being good and being able to make a run, but it's losses like that just, I don't know, kind of makes you shake your head a little bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as the Ohio State. The Ohio State was kind of just draining. This loss was just, I guess to say, disappointing.
It is, because you have Taven, who we're figuring out, is he that guy?
Yeah.
He puts up a really good performance.
Yeah. It was good.
And we're feeling really good about him, being our starting quarterback going forward into the future.
Yep.
And, he's finally getting it done, and then the play calling just lets us down. Obviously, Taven still has stuff to work on. His pocket presence leaves a little to be desired. But, I mean, he did enough.
Yeah, he did enough.
He put us in that position, and it's just a letdown.
Yeah, he put us in the position to tie the game. But, you talked about our defense a little bit. We can't allow Louisville to rush for 184 yards.
No.
And our offense only rushed for 58. especially when running the ball is supposed to be like our thing.
Yeah, our running game was just bad. And one of the most infuriating things I've been seeing is Taven takes at least like 3 or 4 of these design QB runs.
Get me started.
He snaps the ball, tries to run forward. Our offensive line doesn't do anything for him, and it's a 2-yard loss every time.
Ridiculous.
It's like, after it doesn't work the first time, you probably don't want to call it.
Yeah, just stop calling it.
But then you call it again, and it doesn't work. And it's like, this play is clearly not working. I don't know what we see in it that we keep calling it.
I will give us credit. We outpassed more than them. 299 yards for us, 238 yards for Louisville. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think we definitely, if we can get our offense on check, I think we can win some games for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. I think we can win some games.
Yeah, sure. We can. It's just against teams with more quality, it doesn't feel like we are going to be able to get it done.
It doesn't. Getting into more NCAA, we can go to Florida. You talked about the game. Florida, in Tennessee.
Yeah.
You actually brought this game to me a little bit. It actually was a pretty good game. So
yeah, going into this weekend, me and Darren recorded a little preview.
Yeah.
Wasn't able to get it up, unfortunately. But going in, I went over some, games to watch for college because the slate for this weekend looked kind of weak.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing too big except for like Colorado State, which we'll get into.
Yep.
But I said one of those games to watch is Florida versus Tennessee. Florida, lost their first game. Everyone's starting to clown on them.
Yep.
Tennessee is starting off fine.
Starting off pretty
Number
good.
11 team in the country.
Starting off pretty good.
Florida had something to prove, and they proved it.
Mm-hmm.
They said, yeah, we lost our first game, but that doesn't mean we're not a good team. We can still, compete with the top teams out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's disappointing from Tennessee. This is a game where you can just put down an SEC opponent and, really assert your dominance. Last year you were pretty good.
They were pretty good.
And then this year there's a lot of roster turnover, as there is.
Yeah.
But, say, we're still here. And they didn't do it. So Tennessee kind of just took themselves out of like national contender conversation.
Yeah.
And Florida, they didn't put themselves into it. I'm not going to say anything like that. But they like reestablished themselves as we're not a like team that you look on the schedule and like, oh, easy dub.
Yeah, they have a lot of potential. First off, I want to start out by saying I love Trevor Etienne. He's just like his brother. Both are dogs running the football. Man, that Florida offense running the football, they gave Tennessee fits, man. They, their running backs definitely dominated the game. Montreal Johnson had 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving, 1 rushing. Trevor puts up a very, very big rushing performance. Like, they did their thing, They did what they were supposed to do. Even the quarterback, Graham Mertz, even had a rushing touchdown. So, like, they definitely dominated the ground like they were supposed to. They got up early on them, got to 19-7. Never really was a game. I feel like, Tennessee was fighting back for a majority.
Yeah.
Florida did what their thing. They ran for 183 yards. Only passed for 166 yards. But when you can control the game like that, running the football, you really don't have to pass like that.
Yeah.
Their running backs definitely carried and really won them the game.
For sure.
Definitely disappointed by Tennessee, though. Definitely a game you have to win. A rivalry game, actually. I didn't even know. They were a rivalry. They're actually a rivalry right now.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, they're actually a rivalry. I watched it when I was watching the game. They talked a little bit about it, about the rivalry. You definitely have to win that game, though, for Tennessee. Push you in the conversation. I guess I don't really think they're, a big team. Like, I don't think they're really a scary team in the conversation, but at least puts you up there in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Alabama. I don't know if you watched that game, but they barely beat South Florida. Like, a game they really should dominate.
Yeah, this Alabama team is
just, I don't know. It's weird, because they're not good anymore. They're very average. That's what I really wrote in my notes after watching it. They look extremely average. They have no clue who they want to start at the QB position.
Yeah, I think it's just a problem for Nick Saban. Usually he has that go-to guy.
He has to. He has to get that.
He's obviously a great coach. He's a great recruiter. There's talent on this team. It just doesn't seem like it's all coming together, and it feels like it's falling apart, if anything. Lose a close one to Texas, but then you like barely get by USF, and it's like, I don't know, man. There's not really any trust in this team. They fell out of the top 10, deservedly so, I'd say.
So, for sure.
So, I think their season, they really need to like have just a big like shot of like, we are these guys. We're all 4 or 5 star recruits.
Yep.
We're better than you. We're going to beat you. They need to have like a statement game.
Yeah, they have to have a statement game after losing that game in Texas. They ran the ball really well, but like we talked about, like two quarterbacks, Ty Simpson and Tyler, both got snaps. That's weird. That's typically not something we see from Nick Saban.
No.
Unless you're talking about like two good quarterbacks that you just can't decide on, but both of them are extremely average. Yeah. You have to go with one, and I think that's the problem. Because when you're in college, it's not like the pros. When you take a kid out, of the starting lineup, you kind of mess with their confidence a little bit. Yeah. They're not established like how they are in the NFL where they have a resume to go off of. These kids are just coming out of high school. Yeah. Like they want to start. They want to get that playing minutes. But yeah, it's not something that you typically see from Nick Saban. Typically, when Nick Saban loses a close game like that, he typically comes back the next game after and puts a beating on whoever.
Especially on a team like USF.
Especially a team like USF. Like, you have to beat them down. And like the game was extremely close and they barely won it. And of course, like, in the end, their talent prevailed, but like it wasn't convincing to me.
No, not convincing at all.
They look extremely average. Another team that was supposed to be them guys, Georgia, barely beat South Carolina.
Yeah.
South Carolina went up early on in the first half. It was actually, I think it was 14-3 going into the half. Yeah,
yeah, it
was.
Was, yeah.
Of course, Georgia came back and did their thing. 21 unanswered in the second half, but that's just another one of those games, man. Like they barely scraped by winning, honestly. And South Carolina's not that good. Like, I'm from South Carolina, and I'm a pretty good Gamecocks fan, but they're not good enough, especially on the level of Georgia now.
No, definitely not. And I think I said this before. Georgia hasn't done anything this year to prove me why they are locked into three-peat.
Yeah.
They're obviously a good team. Same thing with Alabama. Kirby Smart's great recruiter. He's a good coach. And he has guys who can get it done.
Yep.
But I don't know if they have it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, I guess.
Like how the other years.
Yeah.
Like how the other years.
I mean, maybe they still get it done this year. Maybe it's just a weak year in college football, but I'm just not really sold on them. Yeah. They haven't done anything yet to make me think, oh yeah, these guys are good.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like, coming back, they shut out South Carolina in the second half, which is good.
Really good.
South Carolina is not that great of a team, but they're an SEC team. They're at least a decent level of competition.
Yeah.
So, like, they have had glimpses of greatness, but I don't know if they will have that throughout the season when it matters the most.
There's been a lot of talk, going into the season about Georgia three-peating. Do you see that right now from this team?
No, not right now.
Do you think there are teams better, and who do you think is better than Georgia right now? That could definitely give them a fit in the playoffs.
It's hard to tell right now because we're still only like 2 or 3 weeks in the season.
Yeah.
But I'm not sold on them yet. I don't know anyone else that I'm fully sold on. Anyone else, that I'm fully sold on?
Do you
have
like
anybody?
Michigan. I like Michigan a lot.
Oh,
I like Texas a lot. I actually like USC a lot. Now, granted, I wish USC had a better defense, but Caleb's just having to pull one out every time. So they're more so like a dark horse for me, but like definitely Michigan. I could see Michigan. They look good this year.
Yeah.
I definitely thought they should have made it further than they did last year. I thought they should have honestly faced Georgia in the national championship, but we all know what happened. And man, yeah, that game was it was crazy. I honestly don't know. I don't know though. Besides those three, I think those might be my only three though that I could really see giving Georgia a shot right now.
Yeah,
I still think Georgia's the best team though in the country.
Yeah, those seem to be like the big players for this year, and that kind of goes into everybody asking for like playoff football expansion and all that stuff. It's like we just said, there's like 4 guys you can see really realistically winning the championship.
Yeah,
I know a lot of other people are fans of like expanding the playoffs. I personally am not.
I'm not either.
Because it's not like college basketball where on any given day, any team can win.
Yeah.
Georgia was beating any team in the country, no matter the situation last year.
Yeah, especially.
Expanding the playoffs doesn't really do much. I mean, I guess it's more fun for the like lower seeded teams, gives them a shot, but this season it just seems like it wouldn't do much. It's like there's 4 teams here, realistically. Maybe even 3 as we'll see the season go along.
Yeah. You talked about, like college basketball, but even the NFL, like, that type of thing, that type of format. I don't see any team, especially last year beating Georgia, honestly. Maybe Alabama, but, Alabama got, they didn't have, I don't think they had as much talent as Georgia. But, like, especially this year, like, just not a format you definitely want to see this year.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Colorado, maybe.
I mean, it'd be fun seeing them in it, I guess, but... I mean, we can talk about Colorado right now.
Yeah,
they're game against Colorado State.
That game. Yeah,
it was a game.
We talked about that. Oh, God, that game it aggravated me so much because, like, Colorado State should have won that game, you know?
Yeah.
And, of course, like, not only do I have to stay up to 3 a.m., essentially, just to watch the game, to watch the entirety of the game because it went to overtime. It went to 2 overtimes, actually. The game was insane, though. Like, Colorado State was just so undisciplined, man. Like, 9 personal fouls in the game. You can't have that, man. Like, you can't have that, especially against a good team like Colorado. And you're not even better than them. Like, it's not one of those games where, like, it's a Georgia versus, like, it's a bad team. Like I don't want to say Florida. Like Arizona. Like, you have a Georgia like versus Arizona where, like, you can kind of get away with things like that simply because you have a better team.
Yeah.
Colorado State, you're not even better than Colorado. And you're not only not better than them, then you're hindering yourself.
Yeah.
Like, just dumb mistakes after dumb mistakes, man. And then I was actually in a group chat on the last drive. I don't know if you watched the last drive.
I did.
That everybody's talking about. My man Shadir Sanders drives the whole length of the field, 98 yards actually.
Yeah.
And ties the game up, gets a 2-point conversion. They go to overtime. That game was that last drive that people aren't talking about. Is like Colorado State basically essentially just sat in soft cover 2 the entirety of the drive. When in reality, blitzing Shadir Sanders the whole game got you a lot of success. He looked like he wasn't good against the blitz. They just got away from it. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the defensive coordinator just shook up. I don't know if he didn't know what to call. But, like, you're not only sitting in cover 2 that's supposed to stop the flats, but then you're not even stopping flat routes. Like, flat routes, you're going for 10, 15 yards.
Yeah.
Pop. Like, that game's just Colorado State really, for me, beat themselves.
Yeah. I mean, the penalties and that stuff, that's what, like, I kind of expect from, like, this team's an underdog. It's their biggest rival and state rival.
Yeah, it's a rivalry.
But I think as a coach, you got to tell your boys, we're amped up. We're especially, like, now we're in this game where we could beat these guys.
Yeah.
That's when, at the most, you need to get a grip on them and say, guys, be the best yous. Nothing stupid. Yeah, nothing silly here.
Stupid. No dumb mistakes.
Play smart.
Yeah.
And it just looked like Colorado State, play after play, doing little cheap shots, trying to punch the ball out when the game's or the play's clearly done.
Just ridiculous, man.
It's just undisciplined.
Yeah, like, you watched that, because, in overtime, I don't know if people knew this, but in overtime, they start on the 25-yard line.
Yeah. Essentially,
like, they drove, on one of Colorado's drive, they drove to the 5-yard line off simply personal fouls. Yeah. Like, it started out, they blitzed Shadir, they got Shadir on the ground. The next play, they have a sack. This man, I don't know number 80, but he grabs his face mask when he has a free sack on him. Like, that's just undisciplined, man. Like, you got to be better. Speaking of undisciplined, the Travis Hunter hit, I don't know if you saw it. Yeah, he went to the hospital.
Yeah. I don't like that kind of hit at all.
I don't like it either. Extremely late. I'm surprised he wasn't thrown out the game.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been mad. I mean, everyone could tell it was late.
Mm-hmm.
It had no intent to actually be like a football play. It just looked like to hurt him.
Yeah.
And it's just like the kind of thing you were seeing all game. These guys just weren't playing to play football. They're playing to, like, beat these guys up pretty much, it felt like. And, I'm not a huge Colorado fan. I like them. My sister went there.
I like them too.
But, in a game like it'd be fun to see, like, Colorado State pull off the upset.
Yeah.
But in that game, it just made it seem like there was such an unlikable team that game.
Yeah, they were. Their offense looked pretty good. Like, they were up for a majority of the game. They had a chance to win. I thought their defense was playing really well. They just dumb mistakes, man, that cost them points. Dumb mistakes that just gave, Colorado easy first down. Like, you got to be better than that.
Yeah, it was just bad football.
Yep. Okay. Now getting to the NFL. We watched the Thursday night game, the Eagles versus the Vikings. That game, for me, both teams just looked extremely sloppy in the beginning.
Oh.
Yeah, like, they had a couple drives, man, where it's just like punt, fumble, interception.
Yeah.
It just looked really bad about both teams. Then the Eagles turned up, as the Eagles were supposed to. They turned up, got up on the Vikings. The Vikings, for me, turned on a little bit too late. They're offensive, which is normal for them, especially under Kirk Cousins. They typically tend to start out short, and then Kirk puts up these great stats. In a losing effort because they're having to fight back and pass the entirety of the time.
Yeah.
Their defense, the Vikings' defense, for me, man, that's just, like, you got to be better, man. Like, we watched it. The Eagles went, like, 2 or 3 possessions where they didn't even try to pass. Like, they just simply ran the ball down their throats.
DeAndre Swift was running all over
running
them.
down their throats, man. Like, they weren't even dropping back at all to pass. No play actions, no nothing to even say, hey, we're maybe pass. We might pass.
Yeah.
Just running the ball to DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, the game plan was pretty obvious. I mean, that first half was
ridiculous.
Really
terrible.
I would say it's unenjoyable to watch, but I kind of enjoyed it because I just want to see how many times these teams would turn over the ball. It was them trying to like outdo each other. It's like, oh, I'll fumble on a punt return. Oh, and then I'll throw a bad interception, and then I'll fumble. And it was a wild beginning of the game.
Just bad, man. Bad football.
And then, the Eagles started playing like how they should be.
Yeah.
They're supposedly Super Bowl contenders.
Yep.
But then towards the end of the game, when they're letting the Minnesota Vikings back in, I don't like seeing that.
That game got way too close, man.
I don't like seeing that. If you are supposedly one of those big teams, I think you just got to put them away.
Yeah.
Don't put any doubts in there.
Yeah.
And this is the second straight game where they haven't been able to put a team away. Last week, they let the Patriots creep back into it.
Almost came back.
This week, they let the Vikings creep back into it.
Ridiculous.
When you're a team of that caliber, you got to be putting these teams away.
You have to.
And just the game should not be a one-score game by the end of it,
It shouldn't be.
And I'm not going to say anything too drastic yet, but
me neither.
It is something of note to be a little concerned about. It's like, hopefully these guys can, like, get together and just, be the team running through everyone else.
Yeah.
But if they can't do that and they start if they keep letting teams stay in it, that'll eventually cost them wins. And so, maybe come around playoff time, that might be a problem for them.
Yeah, I'm definitely more concerned on them than last year. I'm not as sold. I think once they start facing the better teams, like the top contender teams, I think we'll definitely get to see what they're made of. But right now, I'm not as sold of them. The Ravens bounced back. Well, okay, I wouldn't really say bounced back, but they look better in their win against the Bengals. Burrow looked better, but like they got down early, man. You having to pass to get back into the game. Lamar definitely looked better passing the football. The offense looked a lot better than it did against the Texans. You can't fight from behind. Like they made a game at the end, but like the last drive, Lamar was able to get a first down running the football on the third down. Broken play. The Bengals they're just weird to me, man. Like they always start out really slow. Then they go on this run and they look like the best team in the AFC, but like they always just start out extremely slow.
Yeah, Burrow, better game than last game.
Yeah,
you can say that, but
the bar was pretty low though.
The bar was pretty low.
Yeah.
And it's not like the game he had was spectacular.
It wasn't.
He only went for like 222 yards, had an interception in there. It was just like, I don't know, man. You're the highest paid quarterback in the league. Yeah. Dropping these two early games, he's coming off injury, but it's like a lot of other quarterbacks play with injuries.
Yeah.
And so, as a fan of a team in the AFC, I'm fine if they don't get it going. But, if you're a Bengals fan, you're like, come on, guys, let's be the team that went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
I think they're used to it, though. Because, like, the last 3 seasons, the 2 seasons prior, they've gone slow to begin, and then they go on a run. If they start beating teams, man, like, teams, like, they get some pretty good wins in there at the end of the season. Like, they look like the best team going into the playoffs.
Yeah, but it's kind of like how, like, the Eagles, like, you're letting teams back into it, and that might eventually hurt you.
Yeah.
If you start too slow, and they can't this time get it going early enough, if they start getting going like towards like week 8, I mean that's late down the line, but like if that's when they start turning on, maybe it's too late to secure a playoff spot, or they do, but it's like the last wild card and they have to play the Chiefs in the first round, something like that. So I mean, I don't know, man. They gotta get it going.
They gotta get it going now for sure. You're definitely in an 0-2 hole, but there's that saying, you really want to get hot later on in the season, maybe December, once the playoffs hot. The Seahawks beat the Lions in OT. Tyler Lockett calls game. That was a game, man. That was one of those games. And Jared Goff, man, he gives you one of those games every once in a while where he looks really good.
Yeah.
Then you have other games where he looks average. Geno, man, that play going like, they're up 31-28. The Lions need a field goal. You can't run backwards on third down, man. And put your team in bad position. Like, they punted the ball and gave the Lions good field position. Of course, they got 3. But he did redeem himself in overtime. Put together a drive, man. He put together a really good drive, throwing the football. They walked it off with Tyler Lockett. That game was interesting. How did you feel about it?
It's a fun game, between two fun teams, I'd say. Seahawks, get their footing back after a tough loss first week. For the Lions, it's a rough loss. A lot of people, had them picked as the NFC North favorites.
A lot of people did, actually.
And, obviously, we're still 2 weeks in, they're not out of it. But, that's the game where you want to see. If you're a division champ, you got to go out and beat teams like the Seahawks.
You have to.
And especially at home, you got a lot of momentum after winning against the Chiefs big. week 1.
Yeah.
It's one of those games where it's you got to get it done, and they didn't. And it was close, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's nothing too concerning right now. I don't think many people had them like as Super Bowl contenders. But, it's a young team, and you want to see them be able to get these wins off. And for the Seahawks, good for them.
It's definitely a game you have to win, for sure, if you're the Lions. Definitely gives you a lot of momentum with the Bears underperforming. Packers lose. You have to win that game for sure.
Yeah, Vikings losing that entire division. NFC North had a rough
They had
week.
a rough Sunday. Yeah, the Colts, beat the Texans. Anthony Richardson, to me, looked like the best QB in the draft until he got hurt. We all saw he had to go into the tunnel, didn't return. Gardner Minshew ended up getting some snaps. But for me, and this is kind of tough for me to say, C.J. Stroud looked like the second best QB in the draft. Bryce is kind of coming up third, and I don't like it. But, I'm a realist. We have to see what he does tonight. Anthony Richardson looks so good, man, in that offense, man.
Yeah, he is looking like, all the people are saying this guy's got high upside.
He does.
He's proven them all right.
He's proven
as a Colts fan, it's very exciting. It's unfortunate he has to he's had to leave both of his first 2 games early. Hopefully that's not like a trend for him that he's like injury prone throughout his career.
Yep.
But, he's really like found his own and it's good for him. I mean, obviously playing the Texans, nothing too serious of competition, but it's still good for a rookie quarterback to just be like showing off, you know.
Really good. He looked really good.
Yeah. And C.J. Stroud had not too bad of a game either.
Yeah, he
had a lot of yards.
Yeah.
Obviously that Texans team is going nowhere.
He just doesn't have pieces around him.
No, he doesn't. I mean, they're looking like they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league again.
Yeah.
But, it's a rookie year.
Yeah.
It's just like time to like improve and figure out, how the league works and stuff like that. But I think the future is looking bright for both these quarterbacks.
Hey, man. C.J. Stroud and Marvin Harrison Jr., man, coming soon. Ooh, that's going to be good. That's going to be a little connection. The Bears, man, underwhelming, man, and a loss to the Bucs, man. We talked about this game last night. Actually, he was kind of getting into me a little bit because I've been high on Justin Fields coming into this year with getting the new pieces. Man, Justin Fields just hasn't reached that level yet, man, that he's supposed to have. They got him pieces, Robert Tonyan, of course. You get him DJ Moore. You get him Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool looks very underwhelming right now. But, like, you get him the pieces. You expect him to be better than what he has been. 2 interceptions, terrible interceptions. But just he's been underperforming this year for sure. But the Bucs, to me, besides the Falcons, they look like the best team in the NFC South. I think those 2 are definitely the only contenders for me. I might be a little bit of a Saints hater, but I do think those 2 are the best right now. I think the NFC South is definitely up in the air. Hopefully we can bounce back and at least make it a conversation, I guess. Beat the Saints,
Yeah, the Bucs, maybe they are a good team. We don't know. Baker, maybe he is becoming that first overall pick that he should have been in Cleveland.
Should have been.
But for the Bears, a lot of people early before the season saying, Justin Fields under like a dark horse MVP.
Dark horse, man. People were giving him a lot of credit.
They were saying a lot of stuff. And I was saying, I love Justin Fields. I've always been a believer in him. I liked him when he was at Ohio State. I was happy he got drafted.
I did too.
And, when he struggled last season, I wasn't very happy. But, I was like, I'll get better.
Yeah.
But to the extent that people were saying he was going to get better, I couldn't buy in.
Yeah.
I was like, I just don't see how he becomes what a lot of people are expecting him to be. This Bears team isn't that good already. He obviously got pieces. DJ Moore's not bad.
He's not bad, yeah.
But you just watch that game and there's like plays where it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like you have to be able to read the defense better. And then there's a play that I can remember specifically in my head. He's got plenty of time in the pocket. It starts collapsing finally. Instead of rolling out, he just tries to run straight ahead and just gets absolutely surrounded and sacked by the defense. And it's like, you got to be able to know better at this point. And maybe he does eventually take this leap that everyone's saying.
Yep.
But doesn't look like it's going to be this season. Maybe it is in the second half, but for now, he's definitely really proven all of his haters right, which is unfortunate.
This might be a little bit of a hot take, but this Bucs offense looks better this year under Baker Mayfield than they did with Brady last year. Might be a hot take. I mean, Chris Godwin was hurt last year. You know, the offensive line was hurt last year, but they look better, honestly, than they did with Brady last year. The Bucs defense looks better this year. They look like they're back to form. I want to say Super Bowl year, but you know, they look really good though these first 2 weeks.
I mean, last year it was old man Brady.
Yeah,
good quarterback, obviously, but you know, it's the end of his career.
Yeah,
you know, maybe Baker Mayfield. We saw when he was played those last couple games with the Rams. You know, he has something.
Yeah,
maybe he is finally playing with that chip on his shoulder. I got something to prove to these haters.
Yeah,
you know, everyone wrote him off as a bust, and it was never even a debate.
Yep.
This year, maybe he's saying, "Hey, I'm not a bad quarterback." But it's also week 2.
Yeah.
Don't want to overreact to anything yet. But the Bucs, I could see them winning that.
Yeah,
it's a weak NFC South.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they win it.
I think, yeah, of course, like you see with the Browns, he had a good offensive line. You're seeing with the Bucs as well. He has a pretty good offensive line. He typically does pretty well behind those. The Chiefs return to form, get back into one column over the Jags. The Jags offense, for me, like it took a step back. Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley had a very underwhelming game. Mahomes played pretty well. That's just something I want to clean up about that offense. Travis Kelce returned this game, and Chris Jones. Travis had 4 receptions for 26 yards and a touchdown. Chris Jones, for me, looked like the best interior lineman in football coming back in his first game.
Makes sense.
1.5 sack in his first game back. Affected the game late.
Mm-hmm.
You know, did his thing, what Chris Jones always does. For me, the Chiefs definitely just have some things to clean up. I think Travis Kelce will return to form, will return to being the best hitter in the league. And, you know, hopefully we can, you know, see them playing some better football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely really disappointed by this Jaguars performance. You know, Calvin Ridley, 8 targets, only 2 catches. That's not great.
Yeah, not good at all.
You know, Trevor Lawrence last week looked pretty amazing.
Pretty good, yeah.
You know, this is a Chiefs team who their defense is good. They got Chris Jones back. It's a good team, good defense, but it's not like top of the league. It's nothing like that, like everybody goes into them facing like, oh no, these guys are going to be horrible to play against.
Yep.
It's his 3rd year as a quarterback now. I think these are the kind of games where you got to iron out of your system.
You have to.
I mean, Chiefs, obviously, you know, one of the best teams in the AFC. Mm-hmm. Last week, they just stuttered, yeah.
Yeah.
They
were hurt, too.
They were hurt, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to do their thing. They're going to be the Chiefs. Chiefs will do that.
Yeah.
But it was just, I would have wanted to see it like more like a competitive game from like, it's a shootout
I thought it would be a shootout.
Not a defensive battle.
Yeah.
And, you know, good on the Jaguars defense for only letting up 17 points, I guess. I mean, that Chiefs offense just still isn't there yet.
Yeah, Travis Kelce's just getting back from an injury. So, yeah, they're getting it integrated and stuff.
It's definitely one of those games where it's like, I want to see more from Trevor Lawrence. I want to see more from this Jaguars offense that has it. You know, there's a lot of talent on that offense. And, you know, I want to see a touchdown at least scored. Yeah. 3 field goals is nothing to get excited about.
Yeah.
So it's one of those games where it's like, come playoff time and you're trying to predict, if they play the Chiefs in the playoffs again, it's like, gonna have to take this into consideration saying they couldn't really get it done back then. So I don't know if they can get it done again.
And it's supposed to be the redemption game for sure. The Falcons beat the Packers, man, in a last-second thriller, man. Jordan Love, for me, is the real deal. I don't know what it is about the Packers, man, but they somehow seem to have a backup quarterback like tree, man. They're just rocking them out, man. Yeah. They just have guys just sitting in their wings, just waiting for their time. They come in ready to play, man. Aaron Jones didn't play. You know, Falcons rushed for 211 rushing yards. The first overall pick, Bijan Robinson. Well, he's top 10 pick.
Their first pick.
Looked as advertised.
Yeah.
As advertised, man. Sure. 19 rushes for 124 yards. They look like they ran the ball really well. Him and Tyler Algier are going to be a pretty good duo.
Yeah.
You know, running the football for sure.
Yeah. Coming to this weekend, I thought this was going to be a fun game. You know, the Falcons look like they have, you know, something going on over there.
Yeah.
You know, Bijan will be a fun player to watch, obviously. And I was excited to see these two teams play each other. Still high on Jordan Love. You know, he didn't have a crazy game. He had 3 touchdowns, not a lot of passing yards, but this Packers team, like you said, they're missing a lot of talent due to injury. Elton Jenkins was out. David Bakhtiari was out. Aaron Jones, if I already said it. But it's a fun game, and I think it really showed that both these teams, when pushed, can be pretty competitive, and it's exciting to see for the future. And I just thought it was really enjoyable overall. Unfortunately, the Packers weren't able to get it done at the very end. I thought they had the game, but it's just one of those things sometimes where it's like maybe the Falcons are a better team and they'll get the win at the end of the day.
Yep, they definitely. The Packers do look really good though. Aaron Jones not playing. It was still a really competitive game.
Yeah.
They're gonna be a problem. I think they're gonna be really good. Mm-hmm. Once they get Jordan Love some more pieces.
Yeah.
The Bills return to form.
Oh yeah.
Destroy the Raiders, man. Josh Allen. We talked about it. We talked about it last week, I think. Josh Allen is just one of those. He's just one of those cases, man. Like he gives you an underwhelming game, and then he comes back and he looks like the best quarterback in the league. Like it's just you come to accept it. No, I kind of feel sorry for Bills fans. Sometimes he's extremely inconsistent, man. It's just like 31 of 37, 274 yards and 3 touchdowns. To me, like he's just, I don't know. He's just so frustrating sometimes for me.
Yeah.
I'm not even a Bills fan, and he's frustrating for me.
Yeah. I mean, you just got to take the bad with the good.
Yeah.
That's just how it is with him. And this was one of the good. They play a weak Raiders team.
Yeah,
this team isn't going to do anything.
Yeah.
They're going to be a team that kind of like just rolls over whenever a good team plays them.
Let's be honest.
But, I mean, they still beat them by 28, Yeah. It was still a pretty impressive game.
Yeah.
And
they done like they're supposed to.
Yeah, the Bills acted like, we had a bad first week, but we're still one of those teams that you guys shouldn't be out on. Mm-hmm. We're still one of those teams that looking to make the AFC Championship, maybe the Super Bowl, just got their shit together pretty much. And so it's exciting as a Bills fan. That game makes me feel a little more confident in the season.
Yeah, it does.
As a Raiders fan, it would suck.
Yeah.
Also, watching this game would also suck.
Definitely.
But, Jimmy G, I don't know why they did that. I think they should just, gone to rebuild mode at this point. Jimmy G, he's not that guy. The 49ers are willing to move on with him when they have a Super Bowl contending team. So
yeah, I have that in my notes too. Like, Jimmy just isn't the answer. Honestly, I think at this point you just go to Aiden or Max and just let them go.
See what happens.
Yeah, just let them do their thing. Build for the future for sure. Josh Jacobs played terrible. I think that's honestly an overstatement. Now rushes for -2 yards. And, the Bills don't have the best run defense. Like, they have a really good defense. Don't get it wrong. But, like, their run defense isn't that good to where you should only have -2 yards, especially when you're supposed to be one of the best running backs in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you think that, like, affects, like, we talked about this, in private. There was definitely a big, discussion this offseason about running backs getting paid. Like, do you think that kind of affects that narrative a little bit?
I mean, anytime there's a big discussion going on and someone has a good or bad performance, it's going to be pointed out.
Yeah.
Like for Joe Burrow, what we were just saying before, he just gets paid and then he performs poorly. We're always going to point that out.
Yeah.
And to an extent, yes, running backs are the most replaceable position in the league.
Yeah.
But that's just how it goes. I don't think that means they should be totally wiped off the mat, irrelevant.
I think they should be paid,
I don't know if they should be getting paid big time money. There's only 1 or 2 that are really game changers. Like McCaffrey is, man. But as a running back, you're also the most hurt position. He's always getting hurt. Mm. So there's obviously the risk factor in it as well as why they're not getting paid.
Yeah.
So I think they deserve some money, but obviously you'll see with someone like Josh Jacobs, he's the best performer. Well, not best performer, but he's one of the best running backs in the league. And just has a bad performance, and you can't hinge your offense off him when he's being paid to be that guy.
That guy, yeah.
So sometimes you'll get stung by giving out one of these contracts to the running backs.
I think it definitely is underwhelming. It definitely doesn't help the running backs narrative. Jonathan Taylor isn't playing. Josh Jacobs has a bad game. Derrick Henry hasn't really looked like Derrick Henry. Like, it definitely does feed into the narrative that running backs shouldn't be paid like that. The Titans beat the Chargers in an OT thriller. Man, the Chargers for me continue to disappoint. I'm going to give you time to go crazy. Justin Herbert had a pretty good game. 27 of 41, 305 yards, 2 touchdowns. Big game for Keenan Allen, man. 8 receptions for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Ryan Tannehill definitely bounced back, from the 3 interception game. Mm-hmm. 20 of 24, 246 yards and 2 total touchdowns. Yeah. Derrick Henry finally looks somewhat close to Derrick Henry, what he's supposed to be. He definitely has, I guess you could say, fallen off a hill a little bit. Don't really want to say that too yet, but, it's early in the season, but he definitely doesn't look like
Doesn't look like Derrick Henry.
King Henry.
Yeah.
Henry. The Chargers for me, man, they're just like all that talent, man. And you lose to the Titans. It's just like, it's just so draining. I'm not a Chargers fan. You're a Chargers fan. But, like, I want to see big things from y'all. I actually want to see y'all competing with the Chiefs. Y'all think y'all honestly should have surpassed the Chiefs by now, personally. I don't think I've ever said this to you, but I think you guys should have definitely surpassed the Chiefs a long time ago. But y'all just, I don't know. It's just something about you guys. I don't know if it's Staley. I don't know if it's, your defense, the coordinator. I don't know what it is.
It's a lot of things. And these games hurt. Just the announcer said it best. It's like something what my dad would say.
Yeah.
The Chargers just invent ways to lose. It's just we have way too much talent on this team.
Mm-hmm.
We're like over the cap limit, or pretty close to it at least. And we're starting 0-2. The first game, it's fine. It's the Dolphins. They're a good team.
Yeah.
But then Tennessee, it's definitely a winnable game, and they're just not getting it done. And I'm already starting to lose faith in the season. Brandon Staley, he first gets hired by us. And I'm like, okay, cool. There might have been a couple other people I wanted over him, but I was willing to ride it out. First season, is exciting. Go for it on 4th down. Oh, I'm so cool.
Yeah,
ends up missing the playoffs. They were close, but it's okay. First year as head coach, whatever. Last year, they start off fine. We make it to the playoffs. We look like a good team. We could do something. At least win a playoff game. We play the worst division winner. We play the Jaguars. 27-0. We all know what happens.
Should have won that game.
Yeah.
We should have gotten a Herbert versus, Mahomes matchup.
And then, coming into the season, we have all this hope. We have a really good team, and it's like everyone's kind of forgetting about us now because we're just not able to really do much get real tangible results.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem this team has had over and over and over is our goddamn defense. If you look at our passing defense, our rushing defense, all these different metrics, whatever you measure it by, we're near the bottom of the league.
Yep.
A team with this high of a payroll. Our coach is a defensive guru.
Supposed to be.
That's what he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
He cannot stop a Pee Wee League team. It is so frustrating.
Yeah.
You literally signed J.C. Jackson for however many millions of dollars. You have Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa. You have Derwin James. You have all these big-name guys. You cannot stop anything. It's so frustrating. This week, we were a little injured, sure. But you're playing the Titans. They have nobody who scares you. It's just so infuriating.
Yeah.
When you see this team, like you said, they should be past the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this because I love him. He's my sweet little baby prince. Justin Herbert has to take some of this blame. Yeah, I didn't blame him really for much of that Jaguars playoff loss. But he just does not have the killer instinct that feels like he's a really good quarterback. His arm is amazing. But it just feels like when all these other quarterbacks can get it done when it matters the most. If Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, one of these guys needs a touchdown, they get it. If Justin Herbert needs a touchdown, it's a 3-and-out in overtime. It makes no sense to me. And he's been in the league long enough to where he should be able to develop that kind of. It's just like, it's an intangible. You can't teach it. You just got to have it. And it doesn't seem like he has it. And he has a good game. I'm not saying he doesn't have a good game, but there are games where the quarterback can get it done regardless of talent. Look at Patrick Mahomes last year. He had Travis Kelce as his tight end and nothing else. And he wins a Super Bowl.
Yep.
The Chargers can't win a playoff game. We're not going to make the playoffs this year, it looks like. I don't know what more this team needs, talent-wise. I know what they don't need. It's Brandon Staley.
That's like, wow.
He has...
So he's saying he has to go?
He's done nothing to prove me why he's the guy for the job.
Okay.
There's been so many other people that could do exactly what he's doing.
Yep.
The amount of talent on this team, the minimum is getting to the playoffs. And it looks like he's going to do it one time in 3 years. it's just so disappointing, infuriating. Any other word you come up with.
Yep.
I don't get it. This team has all the pieces. And it just feels like they're the second best team every weekend. It makes no sense. We should be busting Tennessee's ass. Their defense is not that good.
Yep.
They have Kevin Byard. That's the only player I can think of on their defense right now.
Jeffrey Simmons is pretty good.
Jeffrey Simmons, yeah. But we have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler was hurt. That's fine. Josh Kelly had a good game. Justin Herbert. I've been going to war saying he's a top 5 quarterback.
Yep.
And we can't beat the Tennessee Titans. I'm about to be done with this team. I can't.
Yep. Of course, kind of speed around this. The Cowboys and, 49ers continue to like the best teams in the league, to me personally. The Bills kind of made a statement with their win, but, for me, it's really the Cowboys and the 49ers are really the only people in that room. The Giants come back, 31 points in the second half against the Cardinals. Get a good win. Bounce back for sure. Commanders beat the Broncos in a comeback win. Russell's playing better, but and it's sad, but they're still losing games. Kind of like what you said, they're finding ways to lose games. Like he's playing better. I can't even shun the man. He's playing where he was supposed to play last year. Sean Payton is definitely doing wonders for him. They're just not getting wins, man. You can't lose to a Commanders team like that.
Yeah, Broncos pretty unconvincing, but the Commanders they got one of my more underrated guys, Sam Howell back there.
Oh yeah,
I liked him.
He looked good.
I thought, Ron Rivera was talking about how at the end of the season when they finally played him, he's like, I think this is his quote. I don't know, it's probably not directly, but he's like, "Holy shit, why haven't we been playing this guy more?"
Yeah,
and
they should have played him last year.
They should have, and that gave me confidence, to back him, and he's showing them, he's doing good. I should have been playing more last year. So maybe the Commanders make some noise. Who knows? Making more noise than the Chargers.
We're gonna get to the Pats and Dolphins, then we'll get into our predictions. The Pats and Dolphins thriller, man. Of course, the Pats, they've been showing a lot of resiliency, a lot of heart, man. That last play. Okay, do you feel like the last play should have been considered a first down? It was definitely controversial.
I mean, out of that one and then the other play that they reviewed, one of those was a first down. I think both of them could have been first down, but I can't believe that they didn't call either of them a first down.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, for the sake of the game.
Personally, I'm giving him a first down, personally. I just want to see what happens.
You're a referee. We already know they're paid off. Let them have fun. It's national TV.
Yep.
But this Patriots team, they're 0-2, but they're a good 0-2.
But they're a good 0-2 team.
They've played 2 good teams so far, and they've really showed some fight in them.
Yeah. And
especially with low expectations coming into this season, I wouldn't be surprised if they find their way themselves in the playoffs. Mac Jones looking like
Mac Jones to me has the potential to be a top quarterback in this league for sure.
I don't know how top quarterback, but I mean he's looking like maybe top 10. I mean,
Stevenson's a good running back. Gonzalez is definitely as much as advertised. Definitely worth that pick. That was an interesting game to me though.
Bill Belichick is a genius. That field goal block.
That was amazing. I've never seen anybody do that. No. He lined up on the side and ran in and blocked it, which was insane because he came unblocked.
Belichick just does stuff where you're like, why haven't we been doing that before?
His genius,
He is so
why
good.
He's the GOAT.
He is so good.
All right, now we get into predictions. Saints versus Panthers. I'm a Panthers fan, so I'm going to go with my Panthers personally.
I think this is the battle of the mid. There is...
Oh, God.
I honestly could not tell you one thing that would be win this game for one of these teams. It's like a coin flip for me, but I'm just going to go with the experience, I guess. Derek Carr, I'm a top 20 quarterback every year. Derek Carr. I'll go with the Saints.
I'm around my boys, man. Even though we lost first week, I think we'll bounce back. I think Bryce Young will look better. The Browns and the Steelers play rivalry game. We all know AFC North.
Yep.
Who you got? I got the Browns. I'm gonna take the Browns.
Yeah, I mean the Browns just had a better week 1.
They look really good.
Steelers looked pretty weak.
Yeah.
In week 1.
Yeah.
And
he definitely took a step back.
Yeah, and I think as long as they have Matt Canada as their offensive coordinator, they will always just not be able to reach the true potential that they will have.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's going to be a really easy game. Obviously, big rivalry game.
I think it'll be a close game.
But I definitely think the Browns can get away with it.
I think the Browns will win. The Giants and the 49ers play on Thursday. Who do you have? I have the 49ers, of course. I think the 49ers are the best team in the league.
I don't think the question for this game is who's going to win. I think it's going to be by how much. Giants had a fun little comeback win against the Cardinals. So it's not really anything crazy. But
the Cardinals.
I think the 49ers will take care of business. Yeah. I think that it'll be at least a double-digit lead. And I would expect, if it's anything less than that, then that would surprise me.
Yeah, definitely would surprise me as well. But yeah, that's all for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. We will be dropping the channel on the Instagram page, so definitely look out for that. This will also be on Apple and Spotify. Mm-hmm. Also give my boy a happy birthday. You want to drop your Instagram on the page?
It's just J Lipsy, I think. I might be wrong. I think I might be wrong. No, it's Jason.lip. That's what it is. Oh, man.
Yeah, man. Wish my boy a happy
social
birthday.
Media guru right here.
He's finally not a teen anymore. Finally, in the adult world, the 20s.
Ooh, I'm
proud of you, man.
So mature.
Yeah, man. Good episode, though, man. Mm-hmm. Thank you guys for watching again, and we were out.
All right. Bye, guys.
We're out.